What could this area hold, and what's with the storm? Who is false believer and snow cultist? Are these people worshipping something? And what is it? When you look around this area, you will find this around the place, and you would notice the people here wearing them. What could it mean, or does it not mean anything at all? When you talk to one of the NPCs and mention it, they say this. It's apparently a piece of art, but when you look around, you might notice something spinning. This is apparently known as the storm, and when you look at the masks, it kinda has similarities with the storm. So what if they worship this storm, or just wear masks of it, and wear it but don't tell anyone the truth, as they like to keep to themselves? One of Girl's dialogue, who's above ice, says something like they went here away from others, so nobody can judge them, and their desire is to dance. And by dancing, they spin, just like the storm. So there you have. They could possibly be wearing the masks for the storm it spins, which is the way they dance. But I believe that they worship it, and I'll tell you why. When you enter the storm, there's two paths. One to snow cultist and one to false believer. When you enter snow cultist, he's aggressive. But when you get to the second stage, this happens. He looks like he's being possessed or something, and gains more power and becomes even stronger and more aggressive. But where's this power from? Who knows? If you glitch in somewhere in snow cultist's area at a door, you will find this. It has almost a church appearance, a place for worshipping, and there's a shrine in the end of it. Looks familiar. It's in the exact same pattern as the storm, the one that the people seem to worship or wear mask of. Looking back at snow cultist's second stage, the same symbol appears when he's going into second stage. Maybe he's getting some power from the storm or something else. Maybe it could be from this place. But it seems as if snow cultist and the others used to come here to worship the storm, or still do. When you look at snow cultist's achievement, it says as a vessel of the storm. Maybe without him the storm wouldn't exist. It's interesting to note that this happens when you beat snow cultist. What's even more interesting is that, when you do that, you spawn in the middle of the storm. Like, why the middle? Maybe there's something important about it. What's also interesting is that there's this statue in snow cultist's area. Maybe it's the first person in the cult of the storm. Or maybe they believe that whoever this is controls the storm. Anyways, this concludes this part. Now, it's time for the next part. False believer is a strange boss. He seems to favor his bell. What he says are interesting. Take a look. He mentions that the bell tolls for us, and that he thinks we are here to steal his bell. He also calls us bell-less and says we dare to approach, mentioning we don't have a bell. He says this after we defeat him. He wants to take the bell with him to the green grass homes. I go to find out why he favors a bell so much, And why does he worship it? Because it seems as he treats the bell as his god. Here we find this giant bell, and when you shoot at it, it does this. It seems to make a loud noise. My theory is that false believer heard the bell and decided to change by worshipping the bell and worshipping a bell. Hence his name, false believer. Maybe the others made fun of him for that, and he went to the storm by himself. So the conclusion for false believer is that he was someone who used to worship the storm, but when he heard the bell, he thought of it from some god and began to worship it. There, was later banished into the storm. He also has the spinning thing like the storm, but instead it's on his face, not a mask. Maybe he's hallucinating about things. Anyways, this concludes false believer. He's someone who worships bells that used to worship the storm, but when he heard a bell, he thought it of from some sort of god, which also makes sense for when he's defeated. He was made fun of for believing in something false and called false believer. So, he went to the storm waiting for other believers in bells, but nobody else. This also concludes our theory of false believer and snow cultist. Thanks for watching.